Welcome to another episode of the Course Consultant Show. I'm Melody, I'm your host. I help membership owners grow their recurring revenue with referrals and retention. And I'm so excited today to talk all about memberships and how to build an authentic, introvert friendly membership. And I've got a very special guest here today, Tara. Tara is a multi passionate entrepreneur. I just sent out an email to my newsletter all about having been around the digital blocks from being a service provider, wanting a more introvert friendly business, and having the ability to choose authentic practices in our marketing. Tara knows so much. And I have just been gushing so much recently because I had such a fun time being a guest on the Course Creator Conference, seeing Tara launch new things into the world. I just said to Tara previously that I need to grab one of the products, which I saw was a mug, and it was so adorable. And I can't wait to put in an order this weekend. So, Tara is an incredible course creator, and I can't wait to talk all about this. So, I'm going to bring Tara on, and we're going to have a chat all about building that introvert friendly business that feels authentic to you. Tara, thank you so much for being here. I'm so excited to have you on.
Yeah, thank you so much. I'm excited to be here.
Yes, I am excited to chat with you. So, we were just chatting a little bit earlier all about how you created a multi passionate business that fuels your income, grows your recurring revenue, but also feels fun and exciting to run. Because I know a lot of the times we're filled with the idea that we need to build off of always constantly hustling and feeling like we need to market our business in a way that doesn't always feel right with our bodies, our mind, or our energy levels because everyone else who's out there feels like you have to market this one way. So, can you just tell us a little bit more about your journey in entrepreneurship and how you were working as a service provider and kind of made the pivot into what it is that you're doing now?
First, thank you for the amazing introduction. That was so awesome. I've been in the online space, entrepreneurship space for over 16 years now. So, I've had a lot of shifts and pivots. And I think for the longest time, I was, listening to all the advice out there about you have to push yourself, you have to do live videos, you have to show up, you have to dance on reels, you have to be the loudest person in the room. And I did listen to that advice and I tried to force myself to do it. And I very quickly got burnt out and realized this just isn't for me. If this is what entrepreneurship has to look like, it's not for me. I'm going to go back to a 9 to 5 corporate job where I could just clock in and clock out, because this is not how I envisioned my business and my day to day. So I quickly realized that either I need to figure out a way to change things up that's going to be fun for me, but is still going to work. So that's why I really dove into other ways that I could grow my business and figuring out what's going to work for me and feel good. So I was a service provider, and then probably around, I think it was March of 2020, where I really shifted my focus because when the pandemic hit, I had way too many clients at that time, but I within a week I lost half my clients due to businesses being fearful about what was happening in the world, losing revenue themselves, and pausing services. And it was a really big wake up call. I was like, I need to do something else that doesn't just rely on one-to-one client work. And that's where I started to really focus on building a membership and a community and digital products and all the other revenue streams. Right now, I have 8 revenue streams in my business.
Yeah, I saw your post on LinkedIn and I was just incredibly excited to see it, one. And then two, I think what's so really important about the message that you shared is that you saw that there was this shift that you wanted to make, and then also you were guided by your own personal reflection. So when I shared about my story, which I feel like, I don't know if you know this, but I had an agency back in 2020 and into 2019, and 2018 was slowly ramping it up. I also kind of hit a wall, right? Like, so I was working 40 to 50 hours a week, managing a team. At one point, I had 12 plus contractors working under me, and we were building out intense courses and launching new copy and sales pages and all of the things that I was told would lead me to a very successful business, but I just wasn't happy. Like, I at the end of the day, I was like, similar to your story, I felt like I was creating my own cubicle, and I just didn't feel like what I was creating was the business I really wanted to enjoy, nor was it actually scalable in the way that I wanted to run. Because if I really wanted to go hard into building out that agency, I totally could have, but I just decided to make that shift. So I forgot to ask you, Tara, do you have a preference between tea or coffee? Because I have this cloth mug.
Definitely coffee. Here's my gigantic coffee mug.
I love it. I love it. That's a really cute mug. And next time when I do any sort of video tutorial or like interview with you, I'm probably going to use your mug that I'm going to get from you. So, okay, so you switched from being a service provider to a membership owner. You talked a little bit more about your personal life, well, your business life. Was there anything going on in your personal life that you kind of felt what made you want to make that switch? Obviously, there was some changes in clientele.
I think it was mostly like personal wise. It also like the start of the pandemic definitely affected me too. And it made me question like, what do I want my business to look like? Because I mean, I'm starting to feel I'm 36, so I'm starting to feel like I'm not a 22-year-old who's like dancing on reels and just started building this like cheerleader style of business. I really wanted to focus on sustainability, and that really I think prompted it for me. As well, looking at like the big picture. Like, what do I want this to look like, not just business wise, but lifestyle wise in the next 5, 10 years and beyond. So that really made me take a hard look at everything too. So at first, I was just like in panic mode, like, oh my gosh, I just lost half my income and my clients. I don't know what I'm going to do. And then I just took a few weeks to just sit with it and be like, this is actually the best thing that could have happened because I was overworking myself. I was starting to get burnout and not really enjoy the one on one because I was taking on way too much because there was no way to really grow it without taking on more. um, so yeah, I think it just made me really reflect about and really look at the big picture and how I want my future to look.
Right, totally. And one of the things I really appreciate about you, Tara, is that you focus a lot on creating the business that you want to run and create. You decided that that was going to ultimately be a long term strategy for you, and you've built a very successful business with your multiple income streams. Speaking of hustle culture and what you're building in terms of your community, you talk a lot about creating content and showing up as an introvert, as a business owner. How have you seen strategies work for you as an introvert versus what everyone else is talking about, the dancing on reels, the hustling in front of new clients to land more work that really just doesn't fit your personality or your lifestyle?
Yeah, I think the biggest mistake we can make is listening to advice from people who aren't really either aren't aligned, don't have the same personality or strengths, like because what works for somebody who's really extroverted is just not going to work for me the same way. Like if I force myself to do it, it's not going to really get me the results that I want because I it will be totally awkward. People just won't will feel that I'm awkward and it just won't work. And it'll also be exhausting. So I think
Yeah.
it's important to find ways to market and grow your business that are not going to be totally overwhelming and stressful. And there's so many ways out there. Like, I mean, I really love organic and I'm really big on like bringing people to you versus constantly going out and hustling for your next client or your next student and having those systems in place where you can continuously bring new people into your world and then nurture them, grow the relationship with evergreen funnels, email marketing. I think there's so many ways to do it that just isn't talked about enough. And I think as an introvert, especially, you really need to consider what your strengths are and how you can tap into those strengths when it comes to marketing and increasing your business growth.
I think that when you are talking about having people come to you, allowing yourself to nurture that relationship, that's a really magical experience for people. And I think that sometimes when it comes to marketing an online course or a digital product or a membership, often people feel this need to create content just primarily on the sale. And while I think it's absolutely important to make revenue in your business, having that relationship first and having the ability to connect with people is so very important, because we have this online activities and we have offline activities. The online activities of being in front of your audience could be emails, or it could be setting up a podcast, or it could be blogging, or we could get in front of new audience members by going on a LinkedIn audio show. Like I had you as a guest on my LinkedIn audio show. And so when we're talking all about what you're discussing about strategies to make it sustainable, make it feel fun, and make it feel like a way that we want to show up, we create number one, ease and grace for ourselves, and also the ability to share with other people about how they can step into a deeper relationship with you. And sometimes that means booking you for services, booking you for a course, or joining your membership. So I really love that you kind of talked about that, because the energy that you bring to the table and the energy that you bring to that other clients see from you, that's, infectious in a good way,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like it's when you're excited about something, somebody else gets excited and they're like, how do I work with you? You bring all of this genius into the work that you create. And if we're trying to be somebody else that we're not, then we're actually losing out on the most pivotal thing, which is the genius that is you, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes, that's so true. Yeah, if you're trying to force yourself to be somebody that you're not, because people are telling you that you have to, in order to get sales and increase your audience, like it's not going to work. It's people won't connect, and it's you're not going to attract the right people. You're not going to be able to build relationships with the right people, because it's just going to feel off and not aligned with who you are as a person. And I mean, I talk about reels a lot because I see so many reels where I'm like, I think they can be fun, like if that's your personality, but I just can't. Like I'm an entrepreneur. I'm not an actress. I'm not gonna like go on reels and um like I don't even know what they call it. I'm so out of the touch of reels, but it's like, even doing like a voiceover or like creating this reel where I'm like acting shot. Like I'm not an actress. I can't do that. And I think
It's
if people
stressful.
can, yeah, if people can and can use that as a strength, I think that's amazing. But don't force yourself to do that if it just doesn't feel good to you.
Right. And you've definitely shown, and then this is something we were talking about earlier, is that you made the conscious decision to shift from Instagram. And you've focused primarily, as you mentioned previously, through organic traffic, making those conversions, through having conversations and bringing people deeper into that relationship to take them to the next step, which is working with you in a closer fashion, membership wise or service wise. So tell me a little bit more about that decision that you made to take a strategic step backwards from Instagram. How has that actually impacted your life, your business, and also your mental health?
Mhm. This is such a good question. And I love when people ask me this because I mean, it was a big decision. I made this decision over the course of, I think it was like 6 months. I decided in January, I was like, I really am getting sick of Instagram. I'm tired of having to show up and constantly feel like I have to engage for an hour or two per day, which is just exhausting for me as an introvert. It also started to feel like even just scrolling my feed on Instagram, I felt like I was just on information overload all the time. So it was really affecting my business productivity, all the things I was doing to grow my business. Like, it was just a very overwhelming environment, and it did take a mental toll a little bit. So I decided in January, I'm like, okay, I'm just going to make it official and I'm going to leave Instagram. Um, but because I'm a content creator and I do love creating content, I had about 6 months worth of content ready to go. So I
Wow.
was like, okay, I'm just going to schedule all this content and then I'll make it official. But in the meantime, I wasn't really engaging or all of that. I was just posting the content and just using it instead of just wasting that time I spent on it. So I think it was mostly the feeling that this just isn't feeling good to me right now. And I think my focus and my time and energy can be spent better somewhere else, like um, optimizing my website better, revamping my sales funnels, my email marketing, my email sequences, and Pinterest, and all these things. And then I also looked at the data before I made the official decision. And I realized that, the data that's really important, we all love engagement and building relationships and connections. But I mean, if we're spending a ton of time on a platform like Instagram and we're not getting people off the platform, it's really not getting the results we want and need, like what we're wanting to achieve. So I looked at those numbers and I was really shocked that, at that time I was probably spending a good, I would say in total with engagement and content, probably 5 to 8 hours per week on Instagram. And then I looked at Facebook where I was spending like zero time or strategy or energy. And Facebook was getting me 10 times the results and people coming to my website from Facebook versus Instagram. So I looked at that and I was like, this just doesn't make sense. This is just not a good use of my time anymore. So that made the decision a little bit easier too.
I think what you're saying is really important, and I hope that anyone who's watching this in the replays knows that data can inform business decisions, and reviewing what assets you do have, what's working and what isn't, is going to save so
Hmm.
much time and energy, and also mentally it's going to be freeing. So when I looked at the data for me, I also started reviewing which platforms do I need to be strategic on, which platforms will actually bring in more organic connection, building my email list, and also creating revenue, because ultimately I do have other contractors that I've hired into my business. So we need to actually sustain their livelihoods as well. And so when I decided to review the data, what I noticed was actually I had thought that I was going to leave my Facebook group. Like I had this whole, I'm so excited to leave my Facebook group and all this stuff. And so then when I looked at the data, I was like, oh, I do actually generate revenue from this. And then I was like, I'm going to go back to the Facebook group, but be more intentional about the content that I create. And I'm also going to be more intentional about the conversations that I create. Instead of just chasing the likes and engagement and the growth of the group, why not actually engage in real conversations that will drive people to make conscious decisions for their lives and their businesses through creating a container in my membership? And so I also started looking into other platforms like LinkedIn, and I also looked at the data with LinkedIn and saw that I was getting higher quality engagement. I was getting lots of more organic conversations. And the truth is that I do love Facebook and I do love LinkedIn, but they serve different purposes. So, like, LinkedIn is great for creating conversations with founders who maybe want to purchase one-on-one coaching or services. And then for Facebook, it's maybe for people who want a little bit more DIY help or done with you help, and they're just looking for a container to help people grow. And so I think that if we're looking as a whole for a business, we need to review which data is pointing us in the direction of revenue growth in our email list, and then also deciding what feels right, because people can tell me all day show up on TikTok. But if I don't feel like posting on TikTok, I'm not going to effing post on TikTok. You know what I mean? So it's like, I know a lot of people are like, you got to get on TikTok, be the early adopter. And I'm like, I tried it and I was like, it's It's not landing me sales. It's not growing my email
Mm.
list. I'm hustling, and the amount of sheer content that I have to create to actually see any traction is
Mhm.
astronomical. Like 5 videos a day. And I'm like, no friggin' way.
No, thank you. Yeah. Yeah, TikTok is one that I didn't even have the app, like, to view TikToks until a couple months ago. I was like, "Oh, I'll finally download it and check it out," and I was like, "This isn't really how I wanna connect with people either." Like, I don't know if it's, like, maybe it's the introvert in me, but I really like to connect on a deeper level, and I can't really do that in a quick, short video clip. I want, like, longer connections, which is really why I am really liking LinkedIn as well now. Like, it's really easy way to connect with people, whether it's one-on-one or just in the comments. I feel like it's more natural than Instagram ever was.
Yeah, it doesn't feel as edited, and I like that you can share links, which is
Mhm.
so much better because it's not hiding links or it's not pushing it down. I had a really good conversation with another founder who was talking to me about showing up on LinkedIn. That's a whole nother session. But totally love LinkedIn now. It's wonderful. I want to talk a little bit more about relationships and how you've built up an engaged community of like minded entrepreneurs who want to ditch the hustle culture and grow their businesses in a sustainable way as an introvert or as a multi-passionate entrepreneur. You've had incredible run with this course creator conference. Wonderful, loved it. And you've also surrounded yourself with people who want to support your growth. I know that you have a membership and you've really built up an asset library that saves you time and actually generates you revenue. Could you talk a little bit more about how you've invested in resources that have really helped lead you to this point where you can actually have 8 income streams, or you find that there's resources or memberships that you've joined, and you don't have to share which memberships they are, but what has helped you grow in terms of resources and or support in your business?
I thought about this question because I am a self-proclaimed course and program junkie. I just as a multi-passionate, I just love learning all the different things. Um, so I think I mean, there's definitely been really great investments that I've made, and I'm always looking to continue to learn and expand. And I think that's something that as entrepreneurs, we should really tap into and allow ourselves to do. But I think for me, especially being a super learner and a course junkie, I had to really be more strategic with it. So I went back a few months ago and I mapped out in Notion. I have like a list of every single course or resource I have ever signed up for or purchased. And I have it now in a list. It's categorized by topic.
Oh my god, I
So now
really
any
want this list now.
so now anytime I'm like, "Oh, I really want to, work on my sales page." So I'll go in there and I'll filter by sales page resources.
This is
And then
incredible.
it helps me become a little bit more intentional because I think we all sign up for things and then never go back to it. And I've definitely done that, especially now that I mean, I'm doing a bundle next month, and bundles are such a huge value item to buy. And as a learner, I can never resist a good bundle. I will buy every bundle that I come across. If there's like one or two things I want, so that gives usually adds another 150 to 100 items to my course tracker in Notion.
My gosh, I need this tracker. That's awesome. Yeah, and bundles are really great because number one, if you are a contributor, it grows your audience. Number two, it also helps people see you in the market to position yourself as an expert in specific field. And two, as a consumer of bundles myself, I find that like you said, if I'm looking to go deeper into a subject, I want to be able to access resources that will help me do it quickly. Recently, I purchased this really great challenge course all about creating a challenge. And the first thing that I did was I asked my friends and said, "Hey, do you have a course recommendation on a challenge?" because even though I've
Mhm.
run challenges before, even though, I've created content around challenges, it's always good to have a refresher or to have a different perspective, because everyone
Mhm.
runs it a little bit differently. And if there's a resource that could save me 10 to 15 hours out of my planning, I mean, that's 10 to 15 hours
Mhm.
I could work on way more stuff, right? Like productivity is really the point of creating content, and purchasing courses is all about helping save time, money, energy, and stress. So I really love the bundles
Mhm.
that you create. They're really some of my favorites. Okay. So we've talked a lot about the different ways that you've shown up in your business, especially when it comes to being an introvert and creating content strategically for business owners, to grow through organic traffic without hustling on social media. Can you talk a little bit more about your membership? What is your membership about? How have you seen yourself grow as a membership owner in terms of relationships, or just any strategies or tips that you have? I know I'm giving you a very broad question.
Yeah, so my membership, it started as just an idea of putting together a group of people who are maybe feeling like I was, like they're an introvert and they're struggling because they're being told they have to show up this way or they won't be successful. And that was really the driving force behind the membership initially. And um, because I'm a content creator, it's definitely changed. Like I think next May will be 3 years that the membership has been live. I think, if I'm correct. Um, so it's definitely changed and pivoted over time because I think, I mean, with the membership, I kind of embody what I teach about, like, you need to follow your energy and do things that feel good and that are sustainable to you. So when it first started, I was like, oh, I'm going to do new training every single month on different topics. And at like the beginning of the year, I did like a 12-month calendar. And I found that it was a lot on my plate. And sometimes a month would roll around and I'm like, I don't really want to talk about this. I want to talk about something else. Um, so I like put it out to the membership and we had a discussion and got feedback. And really what they wanted was the support. They wanted more support, not necessarily more content, which I think a lot of people do initially with a membership, like just overload the content and just give them everything. And I think people join memberships more so for the community and the support and what they can get out of it. So I decided to stop doing every month new content. Now it's just content as it's requested or as I create it or as I'm inspired to create it. And then we really focused more on the community aspect of it and the personalized support. So I added in 2 days of Voxer office hours, which I wasn't sure how that was going to go, but because my membership is for introverts, they are loving the Voxer office hours. There's no Zoom. We do have a monthly Zoom call, but the Voxer office hours are way busier than the monthly coaching calls. So I think that just speaks to, as well, knowing your audience and what they are going to want and how they're going to get the most out of the membership and the support that you're offering.
I think that's really a great thought there, because when I first started my membership, it's been about a year. I also was thinking, okay, I need to push out a new course. And I think some of the courses that I did create are really foundational to the strategies that I teach inside my membership, like things like how to build out an email sequence and how to grow and connect with people via social media. I think those are really great courses. But as I continued to grow it, I started feeling like the membership was more about those relationships. I started feeling like the courses are great, but it also started feeling like I'm not able to show up in the way that I want to, because I'm always putting out new content. Whereas I wanted to be able to deeply support customers and clients in order for them to see the growth in the area that they needed. And so deciding to pivot from that, I started, allowing myself to restructure and reimagine the membership in a way that I felt like would meet my goals and then also help support my customers without draining me. Because
Mhm.
I think I went through a slightly identity crisis with the membership because I was like, what is this? Like, there's so much stuff in here. I've created so much content. And I feel like I need to make it clear. How is this going to help people? How can I focus and help people through a specific strategic path? And I think that's really
Mhm.
allowed me to ease back into the membership without feeling like I constantly need to create. But I'm excited to get more people involved in the membership as we kind of build out some more cool items and support systems. So I love the Voxer. Okay, so Tara, you've been an incredible guest. I'm so excited for people to get to learn more about you, access your incredible free training, which if you have not checked it out and you're on YouTube, grab the links below and follow Tara on social media, specifically LinkedIn, because that's where I like hanging out now. You should come hang out with us. It's going to be so much fun. How can people take a deeper step to connect with you, Tara? You have so many incredible resources, a podcast yourself, which I've been listening to and loving. Tell us, how can people get connected with you?
Yeah, so I did see Liz asked a couple questions
Oh,
too. I want to
hi,
answer
Liz. How much is great? Oh, yeah,
because this is
Liz. I'm gonna
a re-
add to broadcast. How much is Tara's membership? That's a good
um
question.
s-
I don't know. I think it's
and did I up the price since I added support? This is a really good question because I've definitely like changed it up. So I think the memberships when I first launched it, it was $27 per month. Then it went up to 37 and right now it's 47. So I guess that's like $10 per year increase. It works out too. And I did actually the last time when we really shifted things away from monthly content, um, and I put in now that people can just request content or trainings if they want. And so we actually add because we had like a 2-year library full of monthly content. I was like, we considered and did add a join fee. So it's like $97 one-time join fee and then 47 per month. But I'm actually going to be removing that join fee. So it'll just be the flat $47 per month.
Yeah, I love this question, Liz. And Liz, heyo. So I really think it's important in terms of pricing to consider what's going to be the most sense for you. One, financially, and then two, also what's going to make sense for your members. I've been also reviewing my member pricing and deciding on the pricing for the following year. I know that a lot of people are asking themselves, what subscriptions am I going to keep? So I think in terms of recession proofing your business or however you want to consider it, I hesitate for people to say, well, I'm just going to make it the lowest common denominator, without factoring in what
Mhm.
their strategy is around organic traffic and growth in terms of building out people who are aware and product of the product that you're selling, but also deciding what is going to make the most sense for you. Because Liz,
Mhm.
if people who are watching this, if you don't know Liz Wilcox, it is really important
You
for,
should.
yeah, you should totally. It's to decide what's going to make the most sense. Liz Wilcox has a great membership. Eventually, Liz, you're going to have to come back on the show, okay? So it's important to decide what's financially going to make sense for you, right? And when I just had a series on Instagram all about how to decide what's going to make the most sense for you on your pricing for your membership, and it's really going to be dependent on those things. Your overall income goals, your traffic strategy, whether organic, referral, paid, whatever it is, and then deciding on what are you going to do to make people say heck yes to
Mhm.
join the membership, building that marketing bridge or creating a way for people to say easy yes, right? So I am so excited about these conversations because pricing and helping people make that decision is part of the sales process. And we should really be talking about this more because not enough people are
Mhm.
talking about what goes into making a pricing model that works.
I think something interesting I can share too in terms of pricing that um, really shocked me in terms of the membership is about 90% of my members are annual. So whether they upgraded after a few months, or I also have a webinar that leads into an annual offer. And that offer, it converts at a really high percentage. So I think that's a good testament to your membership too, is if people are ready to commit for a full year and sign on for that period of time, like that's a awesome way to reward people who are like, yeah, I'm ready to commit now for 12 months. Um, and it's a really great way to build those relationships over a longer period of time too. So that was just a really interesting thing. I don't know what the average is for normal memberships, but I was like, this seems really high to have like, like I don't have very many monthly members right now. It's all annual.
That I think that's a good point too, because I was talking about the differences between quarterly, annual, and monthly, and then I was also talking about lifetime product. And so I was saying my hesitation for people to build in lifetime product access. Um, One quick thing about this, because while we're on the subject, when it comes to annual pricing, I think it's a great income cash influx, especially if you are doing a flash sale on it, or if you have a special bonus that you're offering. And the annual pricing also helps people commit to that long-term growth and success and support. And so it's really a win-win for you and your members if you decide to do an annual option. And Black Friday is coming around. Holiday season is the time to start thinking about what kind of strategy you have in place for your membership and your promotion, and how it can actually help you get the revenue influx that you need, so that while January might be a little bit slower for you, you kind of have something to carry you, or like before you get into another client relationship or coaching relationship besides your membership, if you have that kind of dual income coming in. Um, what do you think about lifetime product pricing? I'm just curious.
I've done it once for the membership. I think I actually just did it as like a founding members. I think I did a lifetime founding members launch. I think that's the only time I offered it. Um, I mean, I have differing thoughts and sometimes I go back and forth because I get nervous about saying anything as a lifetime because then it's like I feel like I have to be committed forever. Whereas I mean my business shifts and changes and pivots and I want to have that flexibility to be able to follow my energy. So committing myself to something for lifetime, I mean, even though it's lifetime of the product, it's still like if I want to offer that, I want to be sure that this is something I can commit to and su- sustainably and enjoy it for at least 5 or more years.
Right. I think that's key, is just to follow your energy and knowing that having a lifetime commitment's not just a commitment for the member, but it's also a commitment for you. And so I think when I started my membership, I started out with quarterly pricing because I wasn't sure. I was like, I'm going to put in this quarterly pricing. There's a quarter option, and then there's also an annual option. And then at the end of the year, I'm going to make the decision and say, am I going to continue or am I not? And so I decided ultimately that I was continuing, but I think having that option available in the beginning, it really gave me the grace to say, is this for me, or is this something that I should let go of? And it was great for both reasons. One, people decided to continue on. Two, for the people that didn't, it was okay too. You know, I had a really great relationship with all of the people that joined the membership, and I knew them personally. And I feel like sometimes people feel like you should be separated a lot more from your members. But I actually really enjoy the relationships that I create in my membership, because I get to know them personally. I get to know where they're at in their business. And I also get to give them customized support, because not every single person is going to be at the same stage in their business, or maybe there's something personally, that's happening in their life where we need to review and like pause memberships, and we can still have a very healthy, wonderful relationship when they need my support. And so I love having these relationships with the members, because they feel like part of my extended business family. So, okay. I could talk to you for an hour and we would just be live streaming. So, anyways, going back to where can people find you? How can we build these relationships with you? Because you have an incredible skill and you are a magical unicorn genius when it comes to marketing without the hustle.
Yeah, so probably the best place is my website, which is thetarareed.com. If I have a free resources page with a bunch of stuff. So if you sign up for one, you'll get on my email list, and that's primarily where I'm focused, but then I also have a blog and a podcast with tons of other great content. And yeah, if you purchase anything from me, whether it's $9 or $400, you'll get invited to my private Facebook group too, which is where I hang out a lot.
That's so incredible. Well, Tara, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to me all about your membership and anti hustle, anti extrovert marketing for introverted members who are excited about being multi passionate and growing a business that's sustainable. I appreciate you. We're going to switch over to the end here. Thank you so much for watching this live stream show. We're going to make sure to get Tara and her content in front of you. If you're on my newsletter, you're going to get resources that will help you grow a business that feels sustainable to run, grows peaceful profits, and increases your recurring revenue without feeling overwhelmed. Next week, we're going to have a very fun and exciting special event, and I'm excited for you to join. It's called Membership Managed. Membership Managed is all about creating ease and sustainability in your membership. And if you're a solo entrepreneur or thinking about dabbling in a membership, then you'll want to join in for these weekly live stream videos every single week on Wednesday, where I'll be sharing exactly how you can save 2 to 5 hours a week while still supporting your customers if you have coaching calls. Also, creating curriculum that gets students results without feeling overwhelmed or pulling your hair out. We've got free downloadable resources. There is no opt-in required. And if you want to go deeper with me, I do have a really free challenge coming up in November. But if you're excited about the special holiday season and you want to grab a butterbeer and hang out with me, or you want to grab some tea and chill, hang out with me. Wednesdays, starting October 5th, Membership Managed is all about how I can save you time, money, energy, and save yourself the stress of managing a membership that you no longer love to run. Join me next week. If you're excited about it, as I am, you should be. Grab the link in the description in YouTube and join Tara's membership. It's incredible. It's amazing. Go check out the free training. I know I love Tara, and I know you will too. I can't wait to see you next time, and leave me a little comment to tell me what was your takeaways. That's it for today. I can't wait to chat with you soon. Bye.